No, no, no. You cannot use one when you mean the other. Hi there, it's Nicole, teacher from Empire English, and today we are going to talk about the word few. But most importantly, you should remember a few. Why is it different? It's very different. And this is a very confusing lesson for people who are not native English speakers. This is very hard to understand. Therefore, I am going to separate them completely and put the explanation of when you should use few at the end of the video. And I will mostly focus on when you should use a few, because a few is what you want to be saying in most of your conversation in everyday life. The main takeaway is that usually when you are saying few, blah, 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 what you really should be saying is a few. So when you are talking about increments of time, like seconds, minutes, hours, days, and all the way to years, you always want to say a few. It's usually 3 or 4. So when I say a few days ago, I think 3 or 4 days ago. But it does not have a specific or exact number. It just means a small amount. So it could be 6 or 7. It could even be more, but usually it's in that range between like 1 and 10, depending on the situation and the topic. Also, we can use a few before other numbers like a few hundred. A few hundred people were at the event. The next example is not about time, as in days or years, but it's about the word times, meaning how many instances. So I am living in Korea now. I have come here a few times. I've lived here twice, and I have visited Korea a few times. I've been there a few times. Now, you know, in that case, it's probably 3 or 4 or less than 10. And when it's 2, you would say, I've been there a couple times. For example, I have been to Costa Rica a couple times. I know I have only been there 2 times, so I should be clear and specific and say, I've been there a couple times. Now let's move on to a few more examples. Another example is when I am talking to students or when I am reviewing some type of project, a presentation, or some writing. And I often say, you need to make a few changes. Now I mean a small number of changes. It does not mean exactly 3 or 4. It could be 12 or 25 in that case. I saw a few rabbits in the park today. She set up a few chairs in the yard. Now the major confusion is when we are talking about people. This is when I notice the mistake most often. I hear few people, and the speaker means to say a few people. So this is where I will start to show the difference. This is not a rule, and other English teachers might argue with me about this explanation. But I tend to notice that people use few without the article when they are making a profound statement. Few is focused more on the lack. It's like few people have crossed the Nile River and survived to tell about it. I'm sure many people have survived crossing the Nile River, but I'm trying to think of some profound statement. Now, a profound statement is something very powerful and significant. It has this like heavy feeling. If you want to say not many, just say not many, unless you're making a profound statement. So if you do want to make a profound statement and say something that is in regards to the entire world or all people or all things, then you can use few without the article. I'm not saying that you can't do that. I'm just saying that you can't use few to replace a few. They are very different. Even if you don't feel the difference, they are very different. So here I will compare them and hopefully it helps you. That nuance is hard to separate, but it's important. And people ask me, why not? If few means not many, why can't I just use that word, few? But that's not how it works. I could say some people are coming over later, or a few people are coming over later. But I will never say few people are coming over later. It doesn't make sense. It sounds awkward. The listener will probably understand what I'm saying, but it does not have the meaning that you think it does. And sometimes my students want to say not many, and they think I can just use few anytime I want to say not many. That's not how it works. I'm sorry, I didn't make English. I don't know why it doesn't work. It's only my explanation that you should save the word few for profound statements. But that is the best way to remember it. How can I illustrate this for you? Well, I can say, some people are coming over later. Or, a few people are coming over later. But if I want to emphasize that not many people can fit into my apartment, I will not say, few people are coming over later. Like what? Nicole teacher, you said that it means a lack. It's emphasizing a lack. Yeah, in profound situations. So if I'm just talking about my apartment and a small gathering, that's not anything that's very broad and like it has the scope of the world. So I would not use few people are coming to my apartment. If I want to express that not many people can fit in my apartment, I will say that. For example, I can say, some people are coming over. I can't fit many people in my apartment. It's small. Or I can say, I'm inviting a few people over. Not many, because my apartment is small. I know that I am sounding very repetitive in this video, but I really need to emphasize and illustrate the difference between these two. So just to recap, a few means some or a small number, and it's usually 3 or 4 or less than 10. And few means not many. The focus is on the lack, and it's usually used in profound statements about all people or all countries. You might say something like, few countries have a very good and honest government. And the main takeaway is that you should start making a conscious effort to say a few. A few. That's usually what you are meaning to say. I really hope that this lesson was useful for you today, and I hope that you keep this in mind when you are having conversations in English in the future. If you would like a few more examples of this, you can subscribe to my membership at nicoleteacher.com, and you will receive a weekly newsletter as a member, because I try to give people a few tips and advice every week to help them with their English skills. Bye-bye from Nicole Teacher. Mwah.
Why don't you say so? Like we would have